my fellow Cybertronians, Mr. Mighty here, back again with another video about my top 20 figures I want to see in the Transformers toy line. So today, we'll be tackling Transformers Studio Series. So, let's jump right in, shall we? So first on my list, I have a multi-pack of the 1986 Nor, the Sharkticons. I reckon it'd be really cool if we could have multiples of the Sharkticons and then we can build our armies. Next would be Windcharger. Now, Windcharger didn't have much in appearance in the 1986 film. However, I reckon it'd still be cool to actually have the character as well. And speaking of Windcharger, I'd also like to have a second additional Windcharger in a Wheeljack and Windcharger Death pack as well. Since we've got two Death packs for the shuttle scene with Prowl and Ironhide and Ratchet and Brawn, this time with Wheeljack and Windcharger, since we see them both in this scene right here. So next up we have Stratosphere from Rise of the Beast. Now, Studio Series hasn't actually done a Titan class figure yet. It'd be really cool to see how they do his actual design, since he has a very interesting design to him. So I would really like to see how they actually have that. And hopefully we can have a little area where we can put our Autobots in, such as maybe Bumblebee and Optimus Prime. That would be really cool. Next up, one I'm pretty sure we've all been waiting for a very long time, since the Studio Series Age of Extinction and Grimlock. This one is the rest of the Dinobots, including Scorn, Slug, Strafe, and also going into the concept line with Snarl, Sludge, and Slash, since those are Dinobots that didn't appear in the movie but still had concept art made. I reckon it'd be really cool if we can complete that Dinobot team. Next one is from the last night, which is Sqweeks, a little core class. Although at the time I made this list, they cancelled the core class, so they might have to try putting together with another character. My guess would probably be with the Studio Series Hound, which they could possibly do. This one is from Rise of the Beast. It's a Freezer multi-pack. Now, again, I know they said that they are cancelling the core class. However, I reckon if they sold multiple Freezer figures in one, they could probably put it at a deluxe scale price point. And so that should hopefully be easier and beneficial for us as well. So my next two are also, they're both from the last night. First is Canopy. I reckon they could probably reuse the Revenge of the Fallen long haul design, just retool some of the parts, change the vehicle mode up a little bit. You could probably retool him and then just put some rubber on his back, and I reckon that might be good, along with a additional changed face. But I reckon it'd be really cool to see how they incorporate the different designs, and if they really want to, they could probably put Sqweeks with Canopy if they wanted to. So my next, the last night figure is also Trench. Even though we only got a few scenes of Trench in the last night film, I reckon it'd still be a nice, inclusion to our Studio Series collection, which would be really nice. Next up is a nameless Decepticon. So in the 1986 film, in the scene where Unicron is attacking Cybertron, there are multiple Decepticon characters that are completely nameless and that have some really interesting designs, and I will show them now. If you look at each of these designs, they actually look pretty interesting, well, to me. And I reckon it'd be really cool to have just an army of nameless figures, since Hasbro does seem to be doing that now with the new Gamer Edition Ground and Seeker Trooper 2-pack, which I really hope to get multiple of, because then I could build an army of both Ground Troopers and Seekers, which would be really cool. So this would basically be the same concept, just with nameless figures from the 86 line, since they did announce that they were going to make a figure of every character that appeared on screen in that movie. So here we have another concept art character. Now, I'm not sure who they could pair this character with, since this is a core class and he would probably need to be paired with someone. This is the concept art Lazerbeak from the Bumblebee movie. I reckon what they've done with the other Soundwave cassette bots in the concept art line with Frenzy and Rumble. I reckon they've done a really good job with that, and I would love to see how they go with adding Lazerbeak to the mix. Hopefully they can find a Decepticon to pair him with. Possibly they might reuse a Seeker mold and just pair him with that, and then we could just take the Lazerbeak and give him the Soundwave. So they'll probably find some way around it. So next, I reckon for the War for Cybertron Gamer Edition line, they should add Jetfire. I would really love to see Jetfire be included into the Gamer Edition. I reckon that'd be really cool. And the next character is also another War for Cybertron Gamer Edition character. This one being Jazz. Now I reckon they probably might be able to reuse the Sideswipe toy mold. However, in my personal opinion, and I'm pretty sure in everyone else's opinion, it'd be much better if they use a completely different and unique mold for Jazz, because you gotta respect the Jazz, man. Another concept art character would be a Cybertronian mode Optimus Prime from the Bumblebee movie. Since the only Studio Series Bumblebee movie Optimus Prime we have is one of his alt mode on Earth, I reckon it'd be really cool to see if they can dive into the concept art and look into giving him a Cybertronian alt mode. Just like with the other Cybertronian characters, we don't necessarily see their vehicle modes on screen, but in the concept art pages, we can see what they were transformed into, and they did a really good job in replicating that in toy form. So I would love to see them do the same thing with an Optimus Prime. And now going back to more ground trooper army building areas, I reckon we should have the Protoform Decepticons from Dark of the Moon or even Revenge of the Fallen. Now, there were some really interesting designs. They were mostly the same, but you can spot some differences in the designs. And I reckon to possibly have those characters as toys would be really cool. Next we have Drift Car Mode from Age of Extinction. So the Studio Series Drift from Age of Extinction that we already have is his helicopter vehicle mode, and if you look at his chest you can see the designs for his car mode. However, he is unable to transform into that because limited budgeting at the time, I'm guessing. So I reckon it'd be really cool if they could basically do what they did with Shatter and Dropkick, and this time have him transform into his Ducati mode. Next is, a lot of people will disagree with me on this one, but I reckon we should give some, Studio Series love to two characters that everyone is completely overlooking, and that is Skids and Mudflap. I would really love to see them as both the ice cream mode and of course their separate car modes, and they could even reuse the separate car modes and put them into the Dark of the Moon color schemes, even though they didn't necessarily appear unless you count the little Easter egg at the back of this line right here. Next we have Transit from Transformers Rise of the Beast. So I reckon it'd be really cool to have Transit. Hopefully they get him to scale with the Rise of the Beast Studio Series Optimus Prime, because I reckon if they match scale with that, then they'd be really cool. And also bring another bus transformer into it as well, which would be really great. I really love the Transit design in the deleted scene, and I thought it was really nice. There were two separate head molds for that Transit design. One was an unfinished version and one was the final version, and I really hope that they go with the final version instead of deciding to go for the first version, which was not really my favorite one. I much prefer the final version because it fit the body more in my opinion. Next we have KSI Soldiers from Transformers Age of Extinction. So the Decepticon army with KSI Soldiers, they all had their individual designs, and we did get a KSI Sentry a while ago, and we do have the KSI Boss along with Stinger and Galvatron, all from the Studio Series line and from Age of Extinction. However, there were a few characters that didn't get their designs, such as Two Heads and the other Sentry color schemes. And I reckon some people might really like if they could redo the Sentries but in a proper vehicle mode instead of reusing the Stinger toy, which would be really cool. And here we are, the final entry on the list, number 20. It's every character from Transformers 1. I loved all the character designs from Transformers 1. They were G1 and live action inspired, and I really love it. So far, the figures that we have for this movie is Optimus Prime, Megatron, B-127, Elita 1, and Sentinel Prime. And there were also a lot of great designs that they could really, I'm sure they could really do a good job on that, such as Alpha Trion, Arachnid, Soundwave, Shockwave, Starscream, and even go into the characters who get their T-Cog at the end. So when they finally are able to transform, such as Jazz, Ironhide, RC, and all the other miners that appeared at the end who could finally transform. And also include the Death Troopers, which would be really nice as well. So that is my top 20 figures that I want to see in Transformers Studio Series. If you have any thoughts or opinions, and if you agree or disagree at all with any of my listings, please let me know and give me your opinion, because I would love to hear your opinion as well. And if you want to see a similar video like this, I've also done a top 20 Transformer figures that I want to see in the Legacy United or Age of the Primes toy line. Link to that video will be in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Mr. Mighty, reminding you guys to begin the assault.